So just imagine that you had to leave Hawaii forever. But before leaving, you could have one last meal made up of any Hawaii food that you like. What would you eat? So I thought it'd be a fun game to play with my wife, where we would construct our own perfect Hawaii meal, our last meal made up of our favorite Hawaii foods. So we'll go over drinks, appetizers, main dishes, and then desserts. Some of the foods you may have heard of, others you may not, but collectively, a lot of these foods are only found here in Hawaii, and they make up the local culture. And please let us know what Hawaii foods you'd include in your perfect meal in the comments below. All right, so let's start with drinks.
I chose iced lilikoi tea from Aloha Bakehouse. We actually went today.
Yeah.
That has been my favorite drink so far. I'm not really a coffee person, but I like teas. It's big enough like that. I think it's so much worth more than Starbucks. And I love lilikoi. I love lilikoi.
So for me, this was a really hard one. I really wanted to pick Hawaiian Sun Passion Orange, because I think that was what I said was my favorite flavor, and it's really good. But ultimately I picked POG, Passion Orange Guava. And if you know about POG, that's like a local drink that we grew up with. I don't think they exclusively make POG here anymore, but I still consider POG a Hawaii drink. I remember on the airplane, we would get like the little half cup, and then you would go up, and then they would serve you the POG, and then you would drink it, and then they come around and collect all the cups. I really like the taste of POG. I think it does a good job with the passion orange mixed with the guava, because sometimes if you just drink guava on its own, it's not that good.
Yeah, it has a distinct flavor.
Yeah,
yes.
but I think the passion orange kind of lifts up the flavor. It gives it a little more tang. Now on to appetizers, and what I consider appetizers, or like pupus, is like finger food or stuff that you would eat before like a main dish.
Well, mine's not really pupus. It's more like snack, more like kind of pastries for me, because I don't really eat pupus in general. One was the croissant bite. Bite from Donut King. I've been in love with that. Just like the texture of like how crispy it is, yet it's sweet, and it's in small bites. Like I just could eat that forever. I don't know, I just like it, and I've been loving it. And then I've been always asking you like, can we go to Donut King? Donut King. By the croissant bite. The second one is the scuffin from 9 Bar at Salt. It's basically a scone and muffin kind of combined together, and I love their savory scuffin called the bacon cheddar. I mean, their scuffin is so good. It's if you haven't tried it, you should go. I mean, it's so good. Yeah, last one was a poi donut from Liliha Bakery. The poi mochi donut that's in a ring, like a circle.
Yeah.
I think it's because it reminds me of this Mr. Donut from Japan, and they have. I think you've eaten it before. Yeah, those are the three snacks.
It's like a breakfast. We're having like a breakfast
Kinda
meal.
like pastry all over. Yeah.
So the 3 appetizers I would have, the first one would be taro chips, and specifically from either the store in Hanapepe on Kauai, or if cannot on Kauai, then I would go to Hawaiian Chip Company. Whenever I go to Kauai, I always make sure to go and like visit and buy like plenty bags, because I know it's like so precious,
You bought like 8 bags back home when we went there for honeymoon.
And there's just one time where I was on the plane and I brought back bags of chips, and then this lady was asking me about it, and it was a carry-on bag. I had like, I don't know, 10 bags. And I was telling her about the whole ride over from Kauai to Oahu, and I just ended up giving her one, because I was like, yeah, just try it, it's really good. Second appetizer would be pork hash, and it would be from Chun Wah Kam. Now, I would have said Char Hung Sut, but they already closed, so didn't count. 7-Eleven's also pretty good. If you haven't had pork hash, it's like, I don't know, like
it's shumai.
Yeah, it's like like a dim sum, like basically like a pot sticker for like mainland people. It's kind of like a pot sticker. What I love about it is the taste of the pork, and then the fact that it's like hand food and like bite size. It's the perfect like Chinese food snack for me. Like there's manapua. I like manapua too, and there's a lot of different ones. But to me, the pork hash is the best. Okay, this last one's kind of maybe a little different, but I would want hurricane popcorn Yeah, so that's my second favorite like snack. Hurricane popcorn is popcorn, furikake, and kakimochi, and they mix it up in a bag, and it's just like crazy.
Butter.
Oh yeah, butter and like crazy. Yeah, this crazy mess. And we used to go when I was younger to Windward Mall, and they would have like this kiosk, and then you would just go, and then they would make it for you, and they shake the bag. Every time I went to Windward Mall, we would get like hurricane popcorn. When you make like the perfect grab, if you're local, you know what I'm talking about. Like when you make the perfect grab, where you get popcorn and some kakimochi in your hand, and then you put it in your mouth, and you have that crunch with the taste of all the popcorn stuff. It's like, oh, it's so good, you know. Unfortunately, whenever I make hurricane popcorn at home, I think because I make it in the bowl, the kakimochi always sinks to the bottom. So I end up just eating popcorn, and then at the end it's just like, oh, kakimochi in the bottom. I'm like, oh. So if anyone knows how to avoid that, please put that in the comments below, because I'd love to avoid that. All right, so now let's talk about main dishes, and these are going to be like the main courses, and we both pick 3. So for me, the first one, of course, is going to be Zip Pack from Zippy. Yeah. The Zip Pack is my favorite plate lunch. I know there's other great plate lunches out there, but to me, it's my favorite plate lunch. Some people may not consider it a plate lunch because it's like in a bento box, so it's kind of like, it's not, but no, yeah, I consider it a plate lunch. And I think with a lot of plate lunches, unless you order like a combo, you're pretty much stuck with like one type of meat. So if you get like katsu, shinhatsu, that's all you get, is shinhatsu and rice. But with Zip Pack, you get like 4 different things. You know, you get the Spam, and the fish, and terry beef, and the fried chicken. And I always eat it in that order. And always, yeah. And absolutely my favorite. I would eat that if that was my last meal. I would eat that for sure. All right, the second main dish would be beef stew, all rice from L&L. They don't make that beef stew like anywhere else. I don't know what it is. Like, it's a lot sweeter at L&L. And I know different L&Ls make it different style. Like generally they kind of the same, but certain ones I like them a little better. The one in Kaneohe I like is my favorite. Every time I get picked up from the airport, from like coming back from college to Hawaii, my parents would always go to L&L, and there would be in the car waiting for me. And oh, it smelled so good. I haven't had one in a really long time.
Well, we haven't had L&L for more than a year or 2.
Yeah, like a really long time. But the beef stew all rice, to me, is their best plate. I know there's a lot of good foods there. I used to like the local moko, but man, the beef stew, that's my favorite. I should also mention too, the worst is when you get the beef stew in the bag, and then the thing leaks, and then you see it on the outside of the bag, and you're like, oh no.
Lose money.
Yeah, lose money. Yeah, because you know what's gonna happen, right? The bottom of the plate lunch is gonna get all dirty, and then when you take it out, you can't put it anywhere, right? So you gotta put it on a plate or something, or on the paper towel, and it's like, So I wish they would fix that, but I understand cannot, but yeah, that's the worst. And the third one, I don't even know if this should count. This is like in a league of its own almost, because it's kind of a hybrid.
Okay.
But the short rib local moko from Moena Cafe. Man,
that's good, yeah.
That might be the best local moko I've ever had, but it's also not really a local moko because it's short rib. But man, when I tried that, that was really good. I would say if anyone wants to eat like a local moko, like they can go try a lot of different places. But if they want the best version or spin-off of local moko, that one is really good. I remember eating that thinking, this is the best local moko I've ever had. But then I realized, well, it's not really a hamburger, so it's not really a local moko, but I didn't care, it was so good. Okay, so what are your 3 main dishes?
I have 4 actually, I couldn't choose. But, well, first one, definitely poke from Off the Hook.
Oh, okay.
Dude, there's long line nowadays. It's just like, I see on the media all the time, they're like the long line waiting. It's just kind of impossible to go with 2 kids, you know. It's like, no way, I can't. And then the fact that I'm the only one who eats the raw fish, you don't.
Yeah, I don't eat poke.
So yeah, it's like, but they're cold ginger and Japanese deluxe. Oh, I could taste it in my mouth right now.
So what do you like about it?
Oh, it's just like the poke is very fresh. Yeah, and just this like flavoring of it is just like amazing. Like for a Japanese person who loves sushi and like sashimi, I'm just like, oh yeah, that number 1. Number 2 is, well, I don't know if it's main. I don't know if you call main dish, but I would still eat it as a meal, so I count it. But acai bowl from Haleiwa Bowl.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's my like top acai bowl place. For me, well, I think we gotta remember that I don't like banana to begin with. They have two different kinds where like blended or I guess unblended, where like acai only and like acai with different fruits basically. I always choose the one acai only base and it's just so good. I know they put a lot of granolas, but still, it's, I remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
So much granola. I actually chose beef stew and squid luau from Highway Inn.
Oh.
All those beef stews that I've been trying,
Yeah.
I guess since I came to Hawaii, the best beef stew that I really like was from Highway Inn. It's not too sweet, but then it also has that like savory tomato flavor.
Yeah.
That's not too strong, and I personally like the taste of it. The squid luau. Squid luau is basically squid with like, I don't know, how do you call it? Is it coconut leaves or something? No, not coconut leaves. Some banana leaves. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like
I don't eat that. So.
Yeah, it's a squid basically well, Google. So good. It's like sweet, but then it tastes so good with like rice. I couldn't choose between that and Hamura Saimin from Kauai. That.
Oh yeah.
Oh, if you're in Kauai, go.
I think it's like 5 minutes away from the airport.
Yeah. The noodle, I just love the noodles. Very close to the Japanese ramen. I remember when I first ate it, I was shocked. I was like, oh my god, this is like one of the best Siamese I've ever eaten. Like,
oh, it is really good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like much on the outside, and even kind of on the inside, it's kind of old looking. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's very close to the ramen that ramen in Japan. So.
It's a good choice. Now we're gonna get to the fun one. This is the desserts, and there's so many desserts. I feel like in Hawaii, like there's so many good desserts, but we had to narrow it to just 3.
All the desserts that I chose are like lilikoi flavor.
Oh, okay.
You can see how much I love lilikoi. First thing that came to my mind was the passion fruit tart from Wallflour. Wallflour is the booth that they have at Kakako.
Yeah, their line is like always long.
I mean, they're fairly new booth too, but it's really good Wallflour. It's tart, but then it's also sweet too. I don't know, something about it. Second is the lilikoi ice cream sandwich from Uncle. If you haven't tried it, go find it. They have it, they sell at the Whole Foods, those ice cream sandwiches. I think it's a local business.
They're up in like North Shore.
Oh, it's in North Shore. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. They use like ingredients from like Hawaii, like coffee, chocolate. We've quite accomplished a lot of flavors too.
Yeah, we tried a lot.
But yeah, I mean, of all the ice cream sandwiches I've tried, they're lilikoi ice cream sandwich. And the cookie makes it good too. The cookie, the ice cream in the cookie. Oh. I actually had a hard time choosing the last one too, but it's lilikoi creme brulee from Haleiwa Joe. I'm sure a lot of different restaurants have lilikoi creme brulee. I just haven't been to that many other restaurants, I guess. Yeah. But then the most recent one that I've eaten was from Haleiwa Joe's when my family was here and we all kind of got together. Like, I love creme brulee in general, and then on top of that, it's a lilikoi flavor. Surprisingly, they're all lilikoi flavored, but those are the top 3 desserts that I chose.
My number 1 dessert I'd have to have is Zippy's pumpkin pie. And the tragic thing is they only have it now once a year.
I don't know, but remember there was last time, I mean, I found it randomly at What Cards?
Yeah, that's my absolute favorite dessert, and they don't make it anymore.
Well, like most Thanksgiving.
Yeah, like except Thanksgiving, yeah. When I had Zippy's pumpkin pie, I thought, boy, this is really good. And then I went to the mainland and I tried like normal pumpkin pie, and it was way too spicy. But then Zippy's pumpkin pie, in contrast to that, is very sweet, and the crust is like really good. I don't know if it's just like shortbread or what it is, but it's really good crust. I always try to get one for birthday. Instead of a birthday cake, I get my own pumpkin pie, and then we would celebrate with the pumpkin pie. I feel like I could eat a whole Zippy's pumpkin pie at one time. It's one of the desserts that I'm like kind of hesitant to share, because I'm like, it's so precious and rare now. Please, please Zippy's. Please bring it back, okay? I know people only eat it for Thanksgiving, but not everyone. Not everyone. Yeah. Okay, number 2 is Ted's Bakery chocolate pie. That's my mom's favorite, and we kind of grew up eating that. That was like our secondary cake. So like when we would do birthdays, we would buy a cake and then like there'd be a pie. There's a lot of whipped cream on the pie. I'm not a huge fan of that. But the crust and the chocolate filling, oh my gosh, it's so good. I can't eat it like the Zippy's pumpkin pie. Like I couldn't eat like a whole pie. I only eat like smaller slices. Like I have a lot more self-control on that one. And it just brings back a lot of memories for me. And the third one, we have a similar one, is the Uncle ice cream sandwiches. And there's a lot of wonderful desserts in Hawaii, you know, like a lot of wonderful ones.
Yeah.
But the ice cream sandwich, oh, it's so good. Like they have a lot of different flavors. I haven't tried them all, but the ones that I have tried, like, oh man, it's almost not even fair how good it is. It's 2 really good cookies and really good ice cream. It's like, of course this is gonna be...
The ice cream is so rich, and every flavor.
The unfortunate thing is if you look at the back of the package,
The calorie.
you look at the calories, you're like, oh, 500 calories or 300, oh, that's not that bad. But that's actually only for half the ice cream sandwich. So I don't know anyone who's only gonna eat half. So you just times it by 2 and that's how much you're eating. But in terms of like ice cream, like on the go, like stuff that you could buy and keep at home, and it's tough to beat that one. Well, that was fun. Hopefully you get to know us a little better through the foods that we would actually eat. For me, I feel like I'm more like local boy, and I know it's not the best foods out there. Maybe it's not even people's favorites, but it's my favorites because I grew up here and that's just what I like. And the foods that you like is based on your experience and like, you know, you being from Japan, you have a different like taste palette.
Of course, yeah.
You know, versus me, I'm, you know, pretty simple guy. Thanks for watching, and good job.
Yeah.